we are in the presence of a celebrity right now. This is
We are.
She did the Super Bowl commercial with Bill Murray and Jeep.
That's it right there.
This is it. This is the one that started it all.
You planned that.
No, I didn't, but yeah, that's cool.
Could we be in line for something funny to come out of the mouth?
Just might happen. What a little key.
She's the best.
Everyone deserves to feel their best. Everyone deserves to move their best and not have pain.
I'm a little upset that Ben got like 2 inches taller because he's already tall, dark, and handsome enough.
Culture is something we think about like all the time at Shruki's. You know, we're all coming from different cultures.
Our comments have exploded through the roof. So there you go.
We're live.
We are live. We should enunciate our voices.
Did I not enunciate?
You were, well, no, that isn't the term, but I'm sure we'll go over it later in the show with our wonderful guest.
Yeah.
Project your voice?
Project, that's a big
Was that
big
another
deal.
way to say volume?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not classically trained or collegiately trained as you are, sir.
I guess you could say I am, yeah.
Or our guest that we'll be bringing on momentarily. But hey, another Monday, another Lancaster Connects at 2 p.m. We're here on your social channels live every Monday, 2 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All on all the audio players. Almost like stumbled over that one.
You're not even reading anything.
I'm not, yeah. On all the audio players the week after. So wherever you pick up podcasts, you can pick us up. And then, of course, on our website, lancasterconnects.com, you can check it out there. Figured we'd just update couple of goings on in and around Lancaster.
It's May.
It's May
2024.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be a cooler May. Which I think,
so far.
Yeah, but I think we want that. Like it feels like we've gone. I know as a motorcycle rider for years, I felt we've gone away from seasons. It's either cold or hot.
Well, and that's what happened last weekend. It was like 55 on Saturday, like 2 weekends ago, and then it was like 85 the next day.
Well, that's Sunday. I mean, it was like shorts and pants and sweatshirts in the morning, and then you're sweating and asking for the AC by 3:00.
That's right. Crazy. And then we were back to that this past weekend.
Yeah. So I appreciate the run up, the smooth.
You want an actual spring.
Not
that's what you're saying.
Right. Not the up and down, up and down, up and down.
Well, don't they say as Pennsylvanians, you can complain about the weather 11 months of the year? Like something like that.
Yeah, we get second winter and third spring and all that good stuff.
Right.
But besides the weather, it's May, so we're grateful for that. We got Mother's Day around the corner.
We do.
So if you're a mom, happy early Mother's Day to you and all you do. I want to give a shout out to my wife, Stephanie, who's just been absolute rock solid for our family these last handful of weeks. We've had a lot of stuff going on, and I'll just say she's been fantastic. And so if you have a fantastic wife, mom, grandmother, aunt, who's ever been that motherly influence to you, make sure you appreciate the heck out of them this week. Anything to add for Mother's Day?
Nothing for Mother's Day. Go Mom.
That's right.
She's watching.
That's right. Yeah, hi Mom.
You know what else is around the corner?
What's that?
A couple things, but like school is almost over.
That's right.
Our kids are starting to count down the end of school. We're like a month-ish away.
Oh, yeah. They're counting down for sure.
It's like, I feel like they just started the school year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So watch out for more kids out in the playgrounds and in the streets and zipping around on scooters. Hopefully you're doing that safely with helmets and elbow pads. I know it doesn't look good, but we unfortunately, Ben was here. I wasn't. We unfortunately had an accident outside the store.
Yeah.
With an actual motorcycle rider, and speeds aren't all that high out front of the store here on Plaza Boulevard, but anything can happen. So if you got a child riding around on those scooters and bikes, take their safety seriously and keep your eyes open driving around too, because kids are excited. They're out there having fun. Pay attention to them, please.
It's a good PSA.
Yeah, please. Let's all have a fun, safe summer. Speaking of safe, we've got this bridge coming down on Route 30.
Big news. Big news here in Lancaster.
That's how I use that bridge every day to and from to get here.
It's like, I know there's challenges already with this road project, right? The whole Route 30, 222 interchange. Like the moment they built it, it was obsolete, right?
Yeah, I've been living north of Lancaster.
Yeah. I don't know how you deal with it.
I feel folks like me ought to get some sort of special badge or better yet, we should have a discount card when we pump gas.
Yeah.
And
You need your own lane.
and get. I would welcome my own hyper Jeff loop.
Right.
But no, the bridge, the one side of the bridge of going over Route 30 from 222 on and off, the one side's going to come down this weekend in the evenings. So they'll start, I believe it's like 9 o'clock.
9 to 6 a.m. or something.
9 to 6 a.m. Route 30 is going to be closed, and you'll see there's detours to get you through the city on one way and then go Oregon Pike the other way. But plan accordingly. But you can still get to the Park City area. You can still get to 830 Plaza Boulevard, 6:01 a.m. to 8:59 p.m. Come invest in a wonderful new mattress this weekend.
Nice segue.
Maybe for mom. We have a massage chair sale event going on. So if mom needs a little bit of a break, she's, to quote Seinfeld, she's a little tired of you people and she wants to get away from all your problems. She can relax and recline in that massage chair.
Mom could use a great set of sheets.
Pillows. Yep.
Yeah.
We just both said pillows in the same tone.
Pillows.
You see how we both just did that? That was fantastic.
Mind meld. That's what
fantastic.
14 plus years will do.
Yeah. So we've got still have some deals on the closeout stuff. That's going to be wrapping up this week. So if you're looking for a deal, please do come out. 830 Plaza Boulevard, Gardeners Mattress and More. We host this show for the benefit of our community. So we had Check It In. We had the bridge. We have Mother's Day. Memorial Day events kick off tomorrow. So we'll update our website there. It's always a wonderful time to invest in a new mattress. You know, we don't really make you wait for the big holidays. Our vendors do release some specials. There's a wonderful Tempur-Pedic savings coming up. That'll be back on our site tomorrow. The Lancaster Ladies Golf Open. Did I say that right?
Women's U.S. Open.
Women's U.S. Open.
Big deal.
I was there in 2015.
Yes.
It was fantastic. Courtesy of Stuart Herr, a local Lancaster institution. That's right. His connection to Serta Mattress. We had a Serta partnership at the time. Allowed that to happen, and it was fantastic event. Lancaster knows how to put on a show around golf.
I mean, the best female golfers in the world will be competing there, and it's a big deal.
It really is. So that'll be going on. So that's the end of this month, May 28th to June 2nd. So check that out if you're able to. Certainly a fun experience. Going to bring a lot of boost into the economy, which is great. We love that for everybody here in Lancaster. So check that out. Yeah.
A lot of cool things going on in May.
Yeah, it is. But I want to get into, I'm going to normally I feel like I do the talking on this show.
Right.
Ben's like, right? Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to let Ben lead this one because Ben's got a really great connection with our guests. So I'm gonna just kind of follow on this one.
Yeah. So we'll
marvel at all that's going to happen.
Right. So we're going to bring Scott Drackley on from the Penn Square Opera. Now, Scott and I don't know each other until just a little bit ago on our pre-show here, and I can't wait to get to know Scott a little bit better. But, we found out in the pre-show, Scott and I have a few mutual connections to other people. So, Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Scott, it was pretty cool. Like, I think I've shared it on the show before that I have a music education degree from Millersville University. Go MU. And some of my professors, I was a voice major, and I had some professors that Mr.
Absolutely.
Walter Blackburn, great dude, and my man Buddy James, who no longer a Lancaster native. He lives out in California, but you knew both of those guys.
I did, and worked with both of them.
That's awesome. I mean, they were instrumental in my college experience. Of course, I don't do music anymore. Really never did it after college, but I had a wonderful experience at Millersville, and the fact that I'm not teaching has nothing to do with those two men or the program. It was more of a decision that I made for myself. But
mattresses got a hold.
Yeah, they just took hold and
we're bringing you into this business.
Took off. Yeah, but I thought it was really cool that those guys because, like I said, they meant a lot to me and my college experience.
And you can still use your voice even though you're not earning your keep by it. You can still always sing.
That's right. So I do sing in the car. So I do that. And actually, over Easter, I sang in our church choir.
Oh yeah,
So that was kind of fun. I hadn't
forgot
really
to ask how that
sung
went.
on stage in a long time, so it was cool to get back in that routine of preparing the voice and practicing, and then performing. So it's kind of something I've missed over the years, but it was cool to do that. So yeah, so I'm really excited to learn more about the Penn Square Opera, because really I don't know a whole lot about it. But first, I'd like to know maybe a little bit of your history with the opera, kind of what drew you into opera, and how long you've been singing opera. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay. Actually, I'm not a singer.
Oh, okay,
I'm a pianist.
all right,
But I always loved opera. The very first opera I saw when I was about 13 or 14, went up to the New York City Opera and saw an opera called Lucia di Lammermoor, and it just happened to star the very famous American soprano Beverly Sills. Uh, Watched it and I was hooked, and so I enjoyed it. I went to college, majored in music with a performance degree in piano. Then when I went to graduate school, I started to work with singers as a vocal coach and accompanist, and that's how I got involved in the opera world. I married a singer. I have two kids who are singers, one who is a professional opera singer, and so uh, I worked within opera for over 40 years in many capacities, as an accompanist, as a coach, as a conductor, as a director, and now I'm running a company. So it's been all part of my life. So
that's really really cool. So you were a vocal teacher, but you're not a singer.
I'm a vocal coach.
Vocal
A
coach.
vocal
Okay,
coach does not like Buddy taught you how to sing.
sure.
Technically, how to sing. I don't do that. A vocal coach works on languages, works on interpretation, works on
Okay,
character, everything else to do with the voice. But I just don't teach people to sing. My wife does that. She is
gotcha.
a voice teacher, fantastic voice teacher, and so
Hmm.
she's the one that knows the technique aspect.
Gotcha. So we were going to have you sing, but we're not going to do that,
No,
I
you're
guess.
not.
Oh, okay.
So
No,
you and your wife are, and one of our fans of the show, Randy, tuning in, talking about his first opera was Madame Butterfly.
yes,
Yeah,
great
he said
opera.
that hooked him. Yeah.
And that's
So
how I met my wife, was that we were in college and she needed an accompanist, and she came up to me and said, "Would you play piano for me in the next recital?" I said, "Sure." Been doing it ever since.
That's awesome.
yeah, so you're the two of you are quite the dynamic duo then.
Well, she teaches people how to sing. She's excellent at it, and then I do all sorts of other things. I play for singers. As I said, I conduct, I direct, I do everything. So
Very cool.
So how did Penn Square Opera come to be? You said when did it start, and how it came about, and your kind of beginnings with it.
so it started in 2016. My son, as I said, is a professional opera singer, and after he was finished with college, he started going to what they call young artist programs, and he was hired by Utah Festival Opera, and he was hired as a young artist, and he sang in the chorus, and he covered understudied roles and sang in community concerts, and the next year they asked him back to do a major role. So my wife and I went to see him, and it's in Logan, Utah, which is in northern Utah, absolutely beautiful area. And the town was very crowded with lots of people coming to this festival. So we literally sat at a coffee shop for about 4 hours. And Peter said, "Dad, with your knowledge of opera, you can do this. Young artists need a place to sing. They need a place to hone their craft, to
Hmm.
make connections, to put stuff on their resume that they performed a role." And so I went home and did research for about a year. And then I thought, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do it right. So, I got a lawyer, and I did the whole incorporation thing and the whole 501(c)(3), and started the company, and started very small, just getting the community aware of what I was doing. So it has several different elements that I think are very important. Number one, as a retired teacher, I was choral director at Lancaster Catholic High School for 25 years. So I'm very, very committed to education. And so that's just part of all of our family. Um, then there's the opportunity to give to these singers a chance to perform, a chance to learn, a chance to make the connections, and finally to give back to our community, because I saw how so many places gave Peter a great opportunity to perform and really gave him encouragement and a leg up. And so I decided, well, this is a way for my wife and I to give back and give back to the Lancaster community. Lancaster community has a huge arts uh, connection. There's theater, there's symphony, there's so much.
Yeah.
So that's how the whole thing got started, by going out to Utah to see a performance.
And
Cool story.
interestingly enough, one of our suppliers here has their offices in Logan, Utah.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. Just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So tell us about you mentioned when you started that you wanted to do it right, and you said the words 501c3,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
so tell
we
us
are
about the charitable aspect, nonprofit aspect of what you do.
we're a nonprofit. In fact, pretty much any performing arts organization is a nonprofit. Lancaster Symphony, the Fulton, Prima Theater, EPAC, we're all nonprofits. Okay. And that makes it so people can donate to us, and donations are very important to the life of an artistic organization. We can then apply for grants. There are certain grants that we can apply for as a 501c3. That doesn't mean, we're nonprofit. That doesn't mean we can lose money all the time, because we can't. But we have to file taxes just like
Right.
every organization. We don't pay taxes, but we have to file.
Mhm.
We have to keep everything current with very good records, and because everything's completely public.
Yeah.
So it's and we have to renew our through the state. You have to renew once a year the ability to ask for donations. So that's how a 501c3 works, and it yeah, it's a good way of doing business.
So a couple questions then. Where are you located?
Well, all over the place.
Okay.
We perform all over the place. We have performed at the wonderful new Gardner Theater of Lancaster Country Day School. We've performed at Telus 360, which I love performing there. It's such a great place. We are going to be performing this fall at the West Arts Center that just opened recently.
Okay.
So we perform many different places, and we do small production. We do small little concerts in people's homes. We
Oh,
do
wow.
larger performances. So I have an office here, but the performances are all over the place.
Gotcha. And so what services do you offer at Penn Square Opera?
Okay, well, we present productions and concerts,
Okay.
and like in this month, next week on the 19th, we are presenting a performance called Voices and Sacred Song. um, and this came about because there are a lot of very, very talented singers locally who are not doing this as a career. They're not. They have other things that they do, but they still love to sing. So we are doing this as a way to highlight these wonderful local singers, and some of them have had a career, or and some of them are working on that, and we're presenting it free as a thank you to the community for all their support. So it's a concert of all sacred music, all types of sacred music, oratorio, just anything. I left it up to the singers. I engaged the singers, and I said, "What do you know? What would you like to sing?" And they've given me a list of pieces they would like to sing, and I'm making a program out of that. And it's going to be a very exciting program because these singers are incredibly talented. So that's the next thing that's coming up. We do concerts. I do also run the Penn Square Music Conservatory, and that got started in 2020. Uh, yeah, I opened a conservatory in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, a rough time to start.
Yeah, I know. And it came about because there used to be in Lancaster the Lancaster Conservatory of Music, and my wife taught there. And so she heard. So when the pandemic hit, they decided to close down, and so she had heard. She participated in a phone call with the faculty and stuff. And so I thought, there's this facility, because I'd been to the Lancaster Conservatory and seen the facility. So why not start something? So we decided. I approached the owner of the building, and he was thrilled to have another arts organization in there, and the fact that I could just move in. So we started the conservatory, and in September of 2020, everything was online. They were all Zoom lessons, and that lasted for a little less than a year. Then we started to have people come for lessons. We offer lessons on pretty much every instrument, voice, piano, and we offer them for all ages. We have kids as little as 3 and 4 taking Suzuki violin, as well as, I think there's a voice student here who's in her 80s. So it's like,
Wow.
if you just want to study music, if you just want to get better on your instrument, then come take lessons. So it's fun, and it's been growing steadily. So it's I've got a wonderful, tremendous faculty. They are such a talented performers. They perform in the area, as well as they are incredible educators on their instruments. So I'm very fortunate to have gotten some wonderful teachers to teach here. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but there's piano lesson going on right now
Okay. Yeah.
next door.
Yeah.
So
So a couple things as I'm just kind of listening in here, because I feel you guys are going to really connect with Ben's history and obviously Scott your expertise. But first and foremost, it's great that there's a place where music and voice lessons serve as a hub with the conservatory, because to me, kind of outside looking in, it seems like, I mean, I recall as a kid and a teenager, even a young adult, there were tons of people offering music lessons. It seems there's less of that today. So it's nice to know that we have this right here in our backyard.
there are still teachers out there. There are. There have unfortunately been cuts in public school music programs over the past 10, 15 years, which has been very unfortunate. Like in one school district, they used to start instrumental lessons at 4th grade, and they moved that up to 5th grade. So that's a year less of lessons. Uh, I'm not going to give a big lecture on the importance of music education, because it's huge. It's
Right.
huge. It teaches so many skills that so kids are not being given the opportunity in the schools as much as they used to study. And no, very, very few schools offer piano lessons at all, or voice lessons at all. They offer instrumental, and some provide string lessons. Some school districts don't. So this is a chance for you to come and take lessons here. And I
Yeah, very good.
highly encourage them to participate in their school music programs. We do 3 recitals a year, which are great fun to have the kids show up, and the parents and grandparents and everybody shows up, and there's more flowers than you can shake a stick at. And it's great fun for the kids to get out there and perform. They're learning a skill. By taking lessons when you're little, you're learning a skill, or you're learning a discipline that you're going to take, that, say, a 6 or 7-year-old starting piano. I think I'd only require them to practice for like 15 minutes a day. You're not going to ask a lot of time, and it builds up as they get older and able to do more. But you're definitely teaching them a discipline that they can take into other areas of their life. And eventually, as you start to get better, you get to participate in group activities, which is where the real fun is. Participating in group activities, in your school choir, in your band, in your orchestra, wherever. Just get out there and play and have fun.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
used to say, when I was teaching, I used to say to my students, uh, I'm not trying to create uh, the next great virtuoso pianist, singer, whatever. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to instill a love of music, and
Mhm.
then that you can take that love and you can use it throughout your entire life. Because I always say, after your knees are done and you can't play basketball anymore, you can still play your violin, you can still play your guitar, you can still sing, you can do whatever. So I'm looking at you and I'm saying you need to start singing again a lot more.
Yeah. That's at me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
you're,
looking at you. Looking at you
yeah.
saying you need to start singing. And that was great that you sang with
you're
your church choir at Easter. That's wonderful. That's
you're
great.
100%
That's a start.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So
I love that the conservatory is like kind of a one-stop shop. For anybody looking for any sort of music lesson, you have it all kind of under one roof there.
the only
Um,
thing we don't offer is percussion because that takes up a
mm,
lot of room. And
sure.
I don't have that. But any other instrument we have.
Now, where is the conservatory?
The conservatory is on 940 Marshall Avenue. It's a couple
Okay.
blocks from Lancaster Catholic High School.
Yeah. Yeah.
That new the old silk mill that's being
Yeah.
done into apartments and such. We're right across the street from that.
Okay. Okay. That's great. And the teachers that are there, are they kind of like independent contractors
They are.
under?
They are. They are
Okay. Yep.
independent. Yeah, they are independent contractors. They are paid uh, per lesson that they teach,
Yeah.
and they're used to that because they're teaching probably also in their home. I would think some of them
Okay. Yeah.
are, and then some of them are playing in the area, and they might play for the Fulton, they might play for the Symphony, and they might be or Allegro, or they might be independent contractors for all them also.
That's really, really cool. I love it.
You had mentioned a little bit ago in our time together your show on the 19th, your event.
Mhm.
I think it was Voices in Sacred Song.
Right.
Do I have that right?
Yep.
So you said you have a really exciting program planned. What is it about what the artists and performers and singers are bringing, their selections, that make it exciting for you? What
Well,
do you like and bring out?
yeah. A lot of them are choosing pieces that they know and that they have performed.
Mm,
And so they have a special meaning to them.
mm,
Uh, you know, Sacred music, it's there to lift us up. It is there to praise God. It is there. And so it's a gift. It is a gift. So each of these singers brings their own gift, and they've chosen music that they know that means something to them, so they can communicate that gift then to the Lancaster audience. This is why this is the whole thing about a gift, about we're offering it free. We'll take an offering, but we're offering this. Everybody is donating their time, uh, and so they're just incredibly talented local singers, and you're going to hear all different styles of sacred music because there are all different styles of sacred music. So that's one of the really neat things. Is it's not just going to be one type of music. It's many different types.
I thought it was cool when Chris was scrolling through the people that are going to be in. I think there were maybe 8 individuals. The age range looks like it covers like everybody. It's
Yeah. Yes, it
um,
does.
which is really, really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's great there, and I know most of them. There were a couple that I have become acquainted with, but I know most of the people that are singing. So I knew to ask them. One of them, Mark Namoli, was my student at Lancaster Catholic,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
now he's the choral director at Lebanon High School. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of that. The fact that
That's really
he was
cool.
my student.
Yeah, that has to be. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like that, you're obviously your commitment to education through the lens and the skills and the talents of music and singing and instruments. But what's it like for you to run into former students who you inspired? Maybe share a story or two.
I have, I have several students who are working uh, professionally in music, and that's really great. And I keep in touch with them. Uh, but I think what gives me the greatest joy is when I hear from a student who said, "Boy, I remember chorus in high school. It was so much fun." Or I
Mhm.
remember singing in the musical and it was so much fun. Uh, that's the stuff I remember. And I was at Lancaster Catholic long enough that I actually had a child of a student that I had. That was
Okay.
I had them at the beginning of my career, and then I had their children at the end of the career. So, but I think that's what gives me the greatest pleasure is to know someone who says, "I cantor at my church. I still play the piano at home for my kids, or I still play my clarinet somewhere." So it's that. Uh, uh, that gives me the greatest joy. The ones that are the professionals, that's great, and I'm so proud of them.
Yeah.
And them I keep very much in touch with. So, but it's the ones, as I said, I never train kids to be a professional musician. I train kids. I hope to give them a love of music that they can
Mhm.
take throughout their life.
Yeah. So our friend of the show, and we've made friendship outside because of our show here, Diana Volo from Swan for Kids. Are you
Oh,
aware of?
yes, I've met her. Yes, it's incredible uh,
Yeah.
thing she does.
Yeah. So I mean, that for her, that's the whole payoff of her organization is uh, getting these children interested in music and really connecting to the opportunity of something positive.
And it's a safe place
Yeah.
in a world where they don't have many safe places.
Yep.
So it's incredible the work that she does.
Yeah. She has a big event coming up in July, and um, uh, because of our connection, I believe she has some state representation coming
Good, good for
as
her.
well.
Good for her.
Because of our connection and some things that I was able to do and to focus on arts programming in schools and things like that with another state rep that's passionate about it.
I feel arts organizations should work together because we all, well, to be quite honest, we're all looking at the same pie as far as funding, but
Mm.
we all have the same thing that we want is to present something to the public, either theater, dance. There are ballet companies in Lancaster, music, anything like that. We should all be working together because we all have the same goal. We really do.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think that's vitally important that arts organizations get a chance to share things. I have worked with Guy McIntosh and the Lancaster Symphony, and they really do an incredible job in taking education out to students in schools and have
Mm.
students come to performances. Whenever I do a performance, I always offer free tickets. Actually, it's not even free tickets; just come to the final dress rehearsal. And I had this the last opera we did, Barbara Seville, last fall. We had kids from Columbia High School come, and because she was a student of mine also. The choral director there at Columbia High School was a student of mine, and I contacted her, and she brought like 15 kids, and they loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When we did in the spring of 2023, we did the opera Sanctuary Road, which was about William Still, who was an abolitionist in Philadelphia and very active in the Underground Railroad. And we know that the Underground Railroad went through Lancaster. And so we worked with Lancaster history and we presented this opera. We had the composer here and the librettist here for the performance. And we had a talk beforehand with two experts on the Underground Railroad. So we did two public performances, but we also did a school performance. And we had a curriculum written by four incredibly talented retired educators who got together with me, and I just basically sat there and let them talk because they were so good at the subject that they wrote a curriculum that went to the schools. We had 500 kids, practically filled the Gardner auditorium, coming to see Sanctuary Opera. So it was for a first introduction. It was a good one. And they had a talk back afterwards. So they learned music, they learned opera, they learned about the Underground Railroad, which I thought was one of the greatest things we did.
That's really, really cool.
Giving a chance for these kids to see this opera.
Yeah. To your point of all the different music and arts programs working together, I mean, what a great point. Because maybe a kid doesn't quite connect to an instrument, but they connect to the composition, they connect to the stage instruction or the support, they connect to all the other aspects that go into what's happening on stage. Maybe they just aren't that person to be front and center, but they can pull the ropes behind the scenes,
Sure.
push the buttons. I mean, I say that figuratively and literally. Our producer, our wonderful Chris Stone from Cast Ahead, who produces all of our shows, he made a career in music, but he wasn't necessarily up there on stage recording albums. He was behind the scenes at Sony Music pushing the albums and making sure all the artists got all the support they needed. And I think we can lose sight of that. I talk with my son often about what his football career can look like, and maybe it ends on Sunday afternoons on an NFL field, but it might also end on an NFL field on the sidelines coaching, or on Saturdays for college. And I think too often we try to push people into the spotlight of things and miss opportunities for all the things that are around it. So it's great that you think of it as let's all work together, because we just might expose kids to something really great that they never thought they'd have interest in.
When I was at Catholic High, I directed and sometimes I conducted the spring musical, and I loved the crew. The crew was great, and they were building the set, they were painting the set, they were changing the set around and everything like that. And by the time the show came on, they knew every word of the show. They could sing every single song with the show, and they would be backstage sometimes doing that. But they didn't want to be on stage. But they were part of something, big. So when I did Sanctuary Road, I had some wonderful adults and college kids singing in the chorus. And same way with Barbara Seville. It was a small chorus of just men, but they were all local people. Actually, one guy came up from Philadelphia area to sing in the chorus. So it just, it's there's so many things you can do in music and not be the one standing in the spotlight singing the big aria.
That's really cool. Scott, you've got a fan, Jonna Hoover Green.
Yeah.
She says hello, and she says you have a talented family. So.
Thank you.
So, Scott, I want to know if somebody's interested in performing with Penn Square Opera or taking lessons, what is their best path to connect with you?
Well, if you want to take lessons through the Conservatory, you get on our website. And you can submit something there, information, and we ask all sorts of questions, age, have they had any experience, what are they interested in studying, and then I contact them and we get them set up for lessons. So that you do that through our website. When I do a performance, like a full opera, the leads are pretty much going to be these young professionals. And so I may audition. I have auditioned several times in New York, which is great fun. You go up there for 2 or 3 days, and every 5 minutes, someone new walks in and sings for me. And then I advertise for chorus when I need a chorus in just online. And I would like to. The bigger shows that have big choruses also have bigger budgets. So, you have to be able to choose things that we can afford to do, that we think that, people will come to. And then, that's how we cast accordingly. Smaller roles will be probably local people. And that's great. And that's how pretty much most opera companies in the United States work. They're going to have the larger roles are going to be professionals. And as I said, we use young professionals, people who are just starting out in their career. When we did Barbara Seville, the oldest person in the cast was 35.
Mm.
And they were from like mid-20s to mid-30s.
Yep.
And then you use local people for talented local people for smaller roles, and then you have chorus also, all of which are
cool.
very, very important. Everybody's important.
What's the biggest opera? I mean, like amount of people on stage that you've produced right here in Lancaster?
I've done mainly small things.
Okay.
Because we're just still starting out. I mean,
Yeah.
7, 8 years is still pretty young.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I've just done smaller things. As I said, we had a chorus for Sanctuary Road. We had a chorus for Barbara Seville. That's the first time I did anything with chorus.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a start.
That's great. Got to start somewhere.
Well, and kudos to you for the fortitude to go through the last 4 years, specifically going back 2 years and 2 years prior. Not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And the dream and the joy could have easily been like, well, maybe this just wasn't meant to be. But kudos for you for plugging ahead and sticking to the dream of it all. That's great.
Getting through the pandemic was very hard for all arts organizations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did something, an online presentation with the Lancaster Symphony. They had some performers, some players, and they recorded it remotely. And I had some singers, and we did some things and recorded them remotely. But there was not much you could do, and so it's taken a while to slowly come out of that. And it's not the same. It's not the same. But hopefully, things are going to get better. And they are getting better. But
yeah. So as we look to wrap up our time, we often talk with our guests and how they can get support from our community. And we talk about time, talent, and treasure. And so time being volunteering time.
yes.
And so we'll have you fill in the blank there on if people are able to volunteer with you. How does that happen? Their talents, obviously, we talked about how that happens. If you want lessons, you go to Penn Square Music Conservatory .com for lessons. But if you have talent and you want to get on stage, Scott already talked through that part of things. And then obviously treasure. And we'll talk about where they can donate. So let's talk about that time and treasure, the time and the monetary donations aspect.
Time, I'm always looking for people who are willing to do some work, someone who might want to be on the board, who might have some connections, or want to do a specific job on the board. I'm always looking for something like that. I'm very fortunate to have an incredibly dedicated volunteer treasurer. But if you want to consider something like that, or consider helping out with any aspects of a production that needs to be done, there's always something to do when we're in the midst of a production.
Yeah, we often talk with our guests and let the community know, hey, yeah, every nonprofit, every charity can always use the money. You'll always put it to good use, right? It's. I'm sure you've never had a point where you've said, "Oh no, we have too much money. Here, take it back," right?
I don't know what that is.
Right. But the time thing, you always need an extra pair of hands. I can pretty much gather, right? Like there's always that opportunity. And so yes, if you have time, please consider, if you're connected to what Penn Square Opera is doing and you have that time, please consider connect with them, pennsquareopera.com. Donating, we have had some donation links on the screen, and just share with people where do some of those donations go?
They can go towards many things. You can donate in the conservatory, you can sponsor a student. Because there's always kids out there who would love to continue playing, and they just don't have the wherewithal to do it. And so if we can help out with that, so there's that. That's the big thing with the conservatory. With the opera company, it would go towards some people have donated towards a specific project, and some people have donated just generally to the welfare of the company. Because the even when we're not in productions, we have some overheads that we have to pay for,
Right.
that are always there with any arts organization. And but if you want to say, hey, I like this idea of what you're doing with this production, I'd like to donate towards that, and that's greatly appreciated. Every donation is greatly appreciated.
That's great. I love the sponsor student item,
Yep.
because there's people that might not be able to afford, but really want to have that sort of education. So that's really, really cool.
I kind of want to help with lessons. I know that there are organizations like Music for Everyone and the
Mhm.
Symphony and the other one you mentioned, that they're helping students get actual instruments.
Right.
So there are
Yep.
other organizations in Lancaster who are helping with that. I want to see if a student needs lessons, and most students start off at their elementary school, and that's not to put any of those teachers down because they're wonderful teachers. But you know what? There may be a kid starting flute, and his band director was a trumpet major in college. Now he's learned how to teach flute, but they're going to become to a point where you want to study with someone who's actually a flutist.
Yep.
So that's where I want to see if we can help with students and say, hey, you got a good start in fourth, fifth, and sixth grade. Now
Yeah.
let's have you work with someone who really knows the instrument very well and
That's
can
great.
take you to that next step.
Well, and it probably, again, to your comment about we're all sitting down at the table looking at the same pie, but if we can all look to multiply the pies at the table and work together, that's great. So that child that does get that instrument, maybe through Music for Everyone, and playing it for a couple years, but then does lose connection because they didn't have more focused lessons. That doesn't necessarily further the goal of people that donate instruments. We want instruments to get played and have those skills grow, and those skills take them through middle school and high school, because maybe that keeps them out of trouble. Maybe it just keeps them connected, a part of something special where they belong, and that's
I
always
will
a good thing.
I will tell you one thing, one story. Uh, uh, I had a student, and she played viola. And she's like, Mr. Drackley, why should I continue with this? I said, are you kidding me? You play viola. That's gold. And she went to Kutztown University as an English major on a full scholarship to play viola in the orchestra. And that
Yeah.
there was another student who went to Lebanon Valley on full scholarship for clarinet. She wasn't a music major either. So I
Yep.
always say, especially guys, I said that, audition. You sing in my chorus now, audition in college and see if you can get a scholarship because there's money out
Yeah.
there
That's
for
cool.
things like that.
Yep.
That's really, really cool. Hey, Scott, I want to know. So we've got Penn Square Opera, we've got the Penn Square Music Conservatory. What's next for these organizations? The rest of 2024, 2025, and beyond. Do you have any big goals or dreams that you're shooting for down the road?
I want to double the enrollment at the conservatory. I want to
Mm,
double that. And I'm
that's
going to
awesome.
be out there talking to the music teachers and saying, here we are, in case you didn't know that we were here. So I want to do that. With the opera company, we are working on our season for next season to help uh, expand our demographic and bring people in who may have never been to anything like this before.
Mm,
And I've had that happen where people have come to a performance and they've never been to an opera before, and they've come to, even when we don't do a full opera, we just do some sort of concert, and they say, "Hey, this was really great." So we want to expand our demographic. I want to get kids in to see performances,
hmm
and that's hard to get kids out of school to see a performance because one of the big things is the cost of transportation, transporting
Sure.
kids. So when we did Sanctuary Road and we did that performance for 500 kids, we paid for the busing.
Mm,
Oh,
So
wow.
the school district didn't have to. That was part of a grant that we got,
Hmm.
was to pay for that. I would like to see kids to experience this. every arts organization wants that. Fulton does, Symphony does, everybody does. You want to get, because they're the next audience. They're the next ones who give to the company. They're the next ones who participate in the company, doing any sorts of things. So
Yeah.
getting young people here to see performances is important. And also expand our whole demographic to bring in people who are like in their 30s and 40s who may not think, opera's not for me. Yeah, it is. Opera's for everybody. You've seen an opera before. You've both seen an opera before. You ever see Les Mis? You ever see Evita? You ever see Jesus Christ Superstar? They're all operas because it's all sung.
Yep.
So it's like, it's opera does get a bad rap. I will agree and say that it's always boring. It's like, no, it's not. It's incredibly exciting, and the stories are really enthralling and can really get you involved. So it's fun, and not everybody dies in opera.
I can feel Scott's passion coming through.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Scott, this has been a joy to have you on the show here.
Thank you very much.
Taking
really
the time
appreciate
out.
it, gentlemen.
Yeah. PennSquareOpera.com, PennSquareMusicConservatory.com. Please consider supporting these two wonderful organizations. Help Scott on his goal to double that enrollment. They're at the conservatory for lessons for these young students who are picking up an instrument for that first time. If you remember that joy you had, you learn how to play that first song on piano or guitar or hitting those notes on the flute. I was going to say if you wanted to be a flautist, but that is not the right term. I guess it's flutist, or maybe I'm mixing it all up.
Either one.
Either one. If you're playing the instrument, that's what matters. And if you found joy in that and can donate to the conservatory to help get more lessons available for kids, that would be just awesome. Transfer that joy into that support. PennSquareMusicConservatory.com/support would be the place to do that. PennSquareOpera.com/support-us would be the place to donate there. Sunday, May 29th, they've got a wonderful
19th.
show.
19th.
What did I say?
29th.
My goodness. And it's right on the screen. Sunday, May 29th. May 19th. Why don't you do it?
It's just like cookied in your brain.
Why don't you do it?
Yeah. Voices in Sacred Song is Sunday, May 19th, 2024 at 4:00 at the First United Methodist Church. And that's at 29 East Walnut Street, Lancaster, PA. And it's free to the public, which is really, really cool. And, free will offering will be taken there. So definitely, with all Scott shared, it'd be really cool to attend that and see that.
Yeah.
Scott, do you have time for a few more questions for you?
Sure.
All right. So got our connection cocktail here. There's no drinks, but so we
feel like I need a drink after that flub.
Little bit of time to get to know you a little bit better. We've talked a lot about the opera, but I want to know, do you have a favorite opera to direct or that you've been involved in? Might be a tough question. I know.
Yeah, there's so many that I like. I like the comedies. Comedies are fun. That's why I had such a blast with Barbara Seville, because it's a comedy. And the people were so talented, and they came in and it was memorized. They had to memorize, and they kept adding suggestions and stuff. And they made it so much fun. The comedies I enjoy.
That's cool.
A lot.
Yeah,
that's great.
So aside from opera, any other passions that you might have?
Love gardening. I garden.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Is that flowers, vegetables?
Flowers and vegetables, yes.
So mix of everything.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Very
I
good.
do enjoy that.
All right, cool. So live in Lancaster, you've got, and of course, Penn Square, right? Penn Square Opera, Penn Square Conservatory. You got your stuff downtown, and you've got the rural area, the beautiful Lancaster countryside. Do you prefer? Are you more of a city guy, or are you a rural countryside guy?
Well, I've lived in both. I lived in Lancaster City for 16 years, something like that, and now I live in Ronks, and it's
beautiful out
countryside. Yeah, it is countryside, and it's wonderful out there. It's very quiet. So when I'm outside, you don't hear anything. You don't. So it's wonderful. That's one of the great things about Lancaster County, that, you
Yeah,
you can see the
100%.
city, and in 5 to 10 minutes, you're suddenly out in the middle of the country.
That's
Yep.
That's great.
That's
Love it.
Lancaster in a nutshell.
Yep.
Right
100%.
Scott, thank you for the time today. We really appreciate you. We appreciate all you're doing for our community. Thank you for bringing opera to Lancaster. We appreciate you. Looks like we've had that just in time.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Funny how technology can work.
That's
way.
right.
It's
That's
great.
right.
All right. So I guess that leaves our sleep better tip.
Yeah. And a
our
testimonial
from our customers.
Yeah.
So sleep better tip that I have is about sleep hygiene. And this was
we're not talking about toothbrushing.
we're not talking about toothbrushing, no.
Which I'll say I did it opposite. I did it wrong last night, and I felt I was going through the conversation that we had. I put the toothpaste on, and then I realized I didn't put the water on, and it felt completely wrong. But I still had to brush my teeth like that.
If you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, there's been intense debate here on the show about when you brush your teeth, if you put the water on the brush first and then the toothpaste, or toothpaste on and then the water.
No.
And you're saying you did the first.
I did it. I put the toothpaste on and then the water, and it was completely backwards. I felt like I should start over. I didn't, but I noticed I was doing
brushing
it wrong.
Your teeth all wrong, man. And I had a certified dental hygienist tell me as such.
Where was this certification from?
Cracker Jack school. No, just kidding. But my tip was on sleep hygiene, and this is all about the environment in which you sleep. So it's not about brushing your teeth
Gotcha.
or anything, not about taking a shower before bed. It's about the light in the room, the scent in the room, the temperature in the room, the UV light you expose yourself to. But specifically, I wanted to share this tip. There's nothing more. I'm kind of like, I've shared on the show. I like to hunt and drive my truck and kind of like this closet redneck type of guy. But I do have to say, I am kind of bougie. Oh. If I could have a brand new pillowcase every night, I would take it.
Like,
last night,
as in like washed or like just new,
like brand new every night.
Okay,
like it would be like with my green M&Ms over here and somebody pampering my fingernails over there. Yeah, fresh pillowcase every night. But last night we had the trifecta, fresh. Well, the quadfecta.
Okay.
Fresh protector, laundered sheets, pillowcases, and the throw blanket that I sleep with. And it was all cuddly and snuggled up. It was fantastic, and I slept good. And so sleep hygiene matters, and it can really just kind of plus that wonderful new mattress you might get from us, or the one that you love and have. You can just refresh the whole experience. And yes, you should launder all that stuff regularly, but if you just are really dying for a good night's sleep, you might just throw that stuff in the wash real quick and improve the sleep hygiene. So we'll send you that tip and many more in our Sleep Better book. Love that.
All right. So testimonial time for Gardner's Mattress and More right here on Plaza Boulevard, right behind Park City Mall. Had a friend of mine come in last Tuesday and buy a mattress.
You have friends?
I do have friends. And his name is Justin. And he left us a very good review. He said the staff is authentic, fun, and truly care for your needs. This is a significant purchase for our family, and so it means everything to have a team that carries the same weight and care on our behalf. I thought that was a cool way to say it because, we do care. But it was cool that he put that in words, it was the help he got was authentic, and the appreciation for their time shopping and money spent was returned by us. So thank you, Justin, for coming in and making your purchase. And, it's on order and we'll deliver it soon when it's in. So thanks for leaving us a review as well.
Love it. All right. That was a good show.
That's a great show.
We appreciate Scott Drackley from Penn Square Opera and Penn Square Music Conservatory.com. There on both of them. Check out all that he's doing wonderful work here for Lancaster, for its people, for the students who want to learn music and really participate in something great. Mm-hmm. So thank you to Scott, and thank you to you, Lancaster County. We'll see you next week on Lancaster Connects. Take care.